to our next fight. This in the light welterweight division, up to 64 kilograms. And Milana Safronova, with plenty of experience, she'll be fancied and perhaps confident to win this tonight against the late replacement. She is 30 now. Several times national
representing India,
champion. And she's up against the youngster, only 19, Lalbuatsaihi, who's a bit of a late call-up and making the most of the opportunity. His second round stoppage. She made short work of her opponent in the previous round. And I guess in some ways she might come here with a free slate, a free mind, almost feeling like she's got nothing to lose. Certainly perhaps maybe a little unlucky not to be on the plane in the first place, but she's here now and she's certainly trying to make it pay.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot to be said for that. There's no real pressure on her, as you mentioned, and this Indian team is absolutely flying after the World Youth. They've had another good showing in this competition, and she didn't exactly look beset by nerves in that semi-final against Lalbuatsaihi of Kuwait.
You see it, Andy, don't you, in all sports, but particularly boxing. You have gyms that thrive, cities that thrive, and you're seeing with India, as well as Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, you have countries that thrive for one reason or another, whether it's the system in place or it's just simply Americom leading the way, influence those and the next generations behind. Suddenly everything starts to click together, and it's definitely happening in India right now. So their representative Lalbuatsaihi in the blue corner. And will be, I guess, viewed on paper as up against it, against Safronova, who's in the red, already a bronze medalist a couple of years ago in this very championship. Nice 1-2 from Safronova. Taller of the two opponents. We've had a few matchups like this, haven't we, where you sort of sense it's going to be Safronova on the jab. She's getting the 1-2 working well. Output's pretty good from her through the first 30 seconds, but there's a heavy right hand from Lalbuatsaihi, and she'll be looking to either get inside or counter heavily, as she did quite eye-catchingly there.
Yeah, she's not going to mess around, is she, the Indian fighter? She came straight out of her corner across the ring and just started to let her hands go immediately. Safronova, I think, was possibly slightly surprised by that, but she seems to have found her range quite quick, the fighter in red, but she will need to keep popping out that jab right hand, that 1-2. As soon as she neglects it, then the Indian fighter will be all over her. It's as simple as that.
And she is, as you say, Andy, she is just kind of popping it. It's scoring rather than necessarily much more than that. And that's why a couple of times we've already seen a heavy counter sharp right hand from Lalbuatsaihi, and she'll be looking to time that counter. You can see the way to shots. There's only been a few of them. You can see the way to shots, why she got that stoppage in the qualifying round.
Yeah, she could definitely punch.
She's looking for it, isn't she, Lalbuatsaihi? Been boxing since 2005, despite the fact that she's pretty young. Certainly motivated more so than ever, having been left out originally from the squad. Nice punch, 1-2 from her out of the clinch. She looks like she's just starting to work into this and maybe unsettling Safronova slightly. The head guard might have just become a little displaced. I wish I could say my hair gets in the way, but well, that's just something they're having to deal with. No problem at all.
Be interesting to see what happens now, won't it? Because they both had a little bit of a breather heading into the final 30 seconds or so of of round one, because when this break came, you would probably say that on balance Safronova had her nose in front in the round because she'd done the cleaner punching. As you mentioned, though, none of it was particularly heavy. It hasn't bothered Lalbuatsaihi, who would have figured out by now, really, I'd have said that Safronova can't really hurt her and she just needs to walk through her. And if she can finish strong in this round, well, she needs to finish strong in this round.
And it looks as though she's, just slightly bundled over there, I think, Safronova. And the referee was right on the spot, ruling it accordingly so. But yeah, I think she knows, Lalbuatsaihi, she knows exactly what she has to do. The method's right, the application's right. She might have to take one on the way in, potentially, but they are just kind of pot-shotting efforts, aren't they? Almost scoring stay away from me shots from Safronova rather than any kind of menace or power on them, and that might just encourage the boxer in blue.
I think so. I think Safronova's won that round because she was more accurate of the two, but I don't think that Lalbuatsaihi is going to go into rounds 2 or 3 with any particular fear. She's going to have to do this the hard way, as you said. She's going to have to wear a couple to get into range and let her own hands go, and that's just how she's going to have to do this. There's no other way. Every now and again she just sits down a little bit more on a 1-2 Safronova, and it looks capable of just stopping Lalbuatsaihi in her tracks, and she's probably going to need to do that a little bit more, because in rounds 2 and 3 now the Indian fighter's going to have to come after her, and I think she will. I don't think she's got any problem doing that.
So the scene is set. I think the first round, very much the template of what we can expect. I suppose the big question now going into round 2 and thinking about further ahead, should it go into round 3 as well, is how much of this energy and effort can Lalbuatsaihi keep up? Being picked off on the way in, how much of that is going to deter her or just maybe sap her energy? That's probably one of the biggest questions now as we head into round 2.
When you fight in that kind of style, when you're looking to try and overwhelm an opponent and you know that you are going to take the odd shot, nice right hand there from Lalbuatsaihi, then you've got to have a good full tank, haven't you? You've got to have high fitness levels. That was one thing I noticed at the World Youths. A number of the Indian fighters did fight in similar styles, in that it was high octane stuff. They would throw plenty, they would catch a few, but they would throw plenty and they would be right on you for the entire 9 minutes. And Lalbuatsaihi's going to have to be cut from that kind of cloth to get this done.
She's unnerving, Safronova here. It's been a really good first minute for her, and I think the crucial change tactically between rounds is Lalbuatsaihi is, as she closes the gap, she's thrown the right hand on the way in, and that is starting to bear some fruit for her. She's landing it just about every time, and she's not having to work all that hard to do so. So already this pressure attack from Lalbuatsaihi just seems to be unsettling Safronova, and the way that she's kind of popping away with the jab, Safronova, I think it's the right tactic and it's the right application from Lalbuatsaihi. There we see it again. She's just moving the head slightly off the center line, just to her left. She's out of way of the lead jab, and then she's automatically coming over with the right hand, and it's working. It's easy enough for us to see, not seemingly easy for Safronova to get out of the way of it, and it seems to be working every single time in this second round. There it goes again, working perfectly for her.
Absolutely, that kind of lead right hand, she throws it and then she just moves straight in behind it, so even if she doesn't really land it, then Safronova can't get a counter away. We said in the first round that she needs to keep using that 1-2, needs to keep trying to snap out that jab, keep the punch output high, or Lalbuatsaihi would walk through her, and that's what has happened in the second round more often than not. But as you've been rightly pointing out, it's intelligent the way that she's done it, because at this level, if you do just walk in throwing punches apropos of nothing without any kind of plan, you will get slaughtered.
As Savros, we mentioned at the start of the night, didn't we, the tactical and technical nuances that can change in between rounds, either from a boxer on their own or through their team corner. And the big question now, Andy, that being asked, I think, of Safronova is, do you meet Lalbuatsaihi head on and try and punish her as she's coming forward, or do you try another way, take a step to the side, take a step back? That's the big difficulty now. Stick or twist, what's the answer to this surge of Lalbuatsaihi, who came in here as a late replacement with nothing to lose, and it looks to me like she's making it pay?
I don't think she'll really fancy holding her feet and going toe-to-toe with her, but if she's got to start making her turn and making her move, because Lalbuatsaihi will just come forward in a straight line. Basically, as you said, she's just taking that head off the punching line, just dipping that shoulder, throwing that right hand over the top. So they're just little adjustments that she's made there to make herself that little bit more difficult to hit on the way in. Safronova's got to keep her turning and keep her moving, not pull back in straight lines herself, and try and use these physical advantages that she does have. But if she's going to stand in front of Lalbuatsaihi, then she's got problems. Maybe get off first might be part of it as we head into round 3 then. Such a good start for Safronova. We think probably won the first round behind the jab particularly. Strong second round from Lalbuatsaihi, who landed so many of those right hands. Now we see at the start of the third, Safronova try to get behind, popping the jab once again, trying to get off first. And so, it is intriguingly poised. And you wonder how much of the effort of that second round took out of Lalbuatsaihi as well, something we wondered stylistically right from the start. Bit naughty that, just pushing off with the heel of her glove underneath the chin there on the blind side of the referee who didn't see it. A little bit of roughhousing, maybe a little bit of shoulder in there as well. Use any advantage. Lalbuatsaihi trying to do just that. Mind you, to be fair, I think she'll be arguing that Safronova's holding on, and she just, she's just trying to get herself a chance to fight. Is there a little bit of blood from the nose of Safronova too? I think so, yes. I think just a little sliver just coming out at the end of the nose there, probably courtesy of that right hand. A bit messy as we just pass the midway point of round 3. No one's really got their nose in front in this round. If anything, maybe Safronova's done a bit better in this third and final round so far. Just got that distance more where she needs it. I think she might be feeling the pace a bit here, the Indian fighter. That was something you've alluded to. And that allied to Safronova. She's getting a jab off first, so trying to halt the retreat of Lalbuatsaihi on the way in, and that's very much working for her. It is a bit scrappy. She is picking some of her shots. There again, punches off first. That's a good right hand from Safronova, and this is some effort from her, because under that kind of pressure, mental and physical, through the second round, that was a tough round for her. The energy reserves must have been depleted. To get back on your boxing technically, but also have to have the strength, the character, and the physical strength to do it as well. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, she's dug in, hasn't she, this third and final round? Maybe just put a little bit more meat on that 1-2, set her feet a touch more. And what's been quite clever too is that she's taken a trick out of Lalbuatsaihi's book to an extent, whereas Lalbuatsaihi would throw that single right hand and then move straight in. She's thrown that 1-2 and then moved straight in behind it and looked to tie her up. And it's what you were talking about earlier, throughout the course of these 3-minute rounds, it's a sprint, this format, but there's just so much that goes into it. You can't afford to make too many mistakes, but what you can't afford to do is not be able to react to what your opponent does when they change up. You have to change up again. It's as you said, it's move followed by move followed by move, and that was a good example of it in that fight there, I think. It's like really technical cards, isn't it? Sort of
raising your opponent and then being risen, raising your opponent again. And we've seen that throughout. A real credit to the boxers themselves in their corners, because we've not seen many fights tonight so far where it's followed one pattern. There's been a roller coaster. And great credit to Milana Safronova, who would have come in here fancied to win this on paper, but she was being asked some serious questions throughout. She won it on 3 of the cards by 3 rounds, but the other 2 she lost by a point, and the other 2 was how Andy and I largely saw it. But great credit to the way she turned that around, because that was set up for Lalbuatsaihi to finish strongly, and she found another gear, she found another answer. Absolutely, she took that first round. From where we were sitting anyway, she did, and then Lalbuatsaihi won the second and won it quite comprehensively, and the momentum was with her at that point, we felt. And then in that third round, she managed to come up with a plan and executed it to see her way through to a gold medal, another gold medal for Kazakhstan. That's 5 out of 6, Andy, isn't it, so far? What a fantastic return for them. And still plenty more to come. They've still got 3 more finalists from the forward as well. So that's a splendid return with the promise of more. Well, we've got another Kazakhstan against Uzbekistan final coming up at welterweight next in the ring. Valentina Kaltova of Kazakhstan, Navbakor Kamedova of Uzbekistan. You wouldn't have seen when we had the previous scoring system, so it's been a good watch.
We will start the medal ceremony of the 64 kilogram weight category. سيداتي وسادتي، سنبدأ الآن حفل تتويج الفائزين لوزن 64 كيلوغرام. We would like to welcome Mr. Ali Taklif, ASBC EC member, to the stage, and Ms. Civilian Gosla Aiba Aranjes, Committee Vice Chair.
And it's the medal ceremonies to finish up then, with the remaining gold, silver and bronze to be handed out after the remaining 5 bouts from this evening. This is from the light welterweight division. Super light, of course, they describe it internationally these days, but what a contest this was between Milana Safronova and Lalbuatsaihi.
Representing Kuwait, Noura Al-Mtari.
Al-Mtari of Kuwait getting a bronze medal.
Winner, representing Uzbekistan, Mughambuni Abduliva.
Wakina Bonu Abduliva, the other bronze medalist. I didn't see her at the step there, but I saw her in the World Youth Championships where she got a silver medal. Good fighter, but Safronova dealt with her quite comfortably in her semi-final. And as you say, this was a real good fight, a real good final, this one.
Safronova it was who found the answers down the stretch, and that was great credit to her, because she was under a lot of pressure from Lalbuatsaihi, who I suspect when she does have time to reflect in a few days' time, given the fact that she was a late substitute, will surely be delighted that she's come away with a silver, though she did get perilously close to grabbing gold. These the shots, the photos being taken right now that'll be appearing on the websites and papers across the world in the coming days. A big achievement, another of the Kazakh champions crowned tonight. And we could be seeing several more, of course, tomorrow with men's final night. Light fly up to super heavy. Make sure you join us for all of that again tomorrow.
Kindly stand for for the national anthem of Kazakhstan. الرجاء الوقوف للنشيد الوطني لدولة كازاخستان. بسبب وفاة والدة الملاكمة الكويتية نورة المطيري، فليتفضل الأستاذ جابر حزام رئيس الوفد الكويتي لاستلام الميدالية والجائزة المالية.